The North. These fucking people. Let me talk to Nino from Boston about the Titanic submarine. Yes, sir.
Hi, Anthony. I would just love to hear your thoughts on this missing submarine. Would you ever take a trip like that for $250,000?
250 large, and these motherfuckers get into a tin can. I saw a short documentary piece, 5-8 minutes long, where the guy that made this thing gives you a little tour. It's a solid tube with kind of a bubble at the ends with a window in one side. So you can see out the front, and then there's monitors and stuff. You can't have a lot of windows on these things, and they're not big. I don't think a lot of people understand the sheer pressure of being that deep underwater. It will crush anything with air in it to completely flatten it out. That's what the pressure is down by the Titanic. The Titanic is under unbelievable amounts of water. Yeah. So they have their ballast tanks for letting in and out water to change the buoyancy so they could go down. And then they pump air back into the buoyancy tanks to go back up. It's literally controlled by a fucking PlayStation controller.
Not even the PlayStation one, the cheap one that you would get that it would be like $10.
The Best Buy, you go get the cheap one. Yeah, there he is. This is how you get up and down. Don't hit B, though. It opens the doors. I'd be like, what? So you can look at the monitors. There's one window that you look at the front. And that's what they did. They went down on this thing. And the thought of that just losing buoyancy, going to the bottom, because that's what happened. If they didn't lose buoyancy, they'd be at the top. But they did. So, and you don't lose buoyancy and then stay in one position. Once you lose buoyancy, you go right to the bottom. And the Titanic's on the bottom. So they are down there. Now, you got to think if they are alive, unless there was some cataclysmic, the window broke and you wouldn't even know it. It would be the fastest death anyone experienced on the world. But if you're down there and you're like, we got to try to figure out what it is, you want to conserve everything, oxygen, batteries, everything. So you got to turn all the lights out. There is no light down there. It's darker than space. There's nothing down there. Now you're in the dark and you know there's a mile of fucking water above your head.
And these are all tourists, right? Like not professionals, not trained.
But they're billionaires.
They're billionaires. Yeah, they're billionaires, but they're not like oceanographers who almost take the risk for science and stuff. These guys just had enough money. It's like the Firefest guys. They just had enough money to say, I want to do this, and it fucked up. So now there's sitting down there, maybe, like I said, if it was a cataclysmic loss of structure, that thing crushed like a fucking can, and they are so dead so fast. But if they're sitting it out and waiting because they're ballast tanks, something happened with the ability to pump air back into those tanks to lift it back up, then they're just fucked down there. And there's no rescue from that depth. They don't have it. I don't understand why. You know you're going to be going around the Titanic area. And they've done this before with robotic subs. They're tethered. They have a tether. If something goes wrong, they just hit a switch and that thing pulls them up. Why wouldn't you fucking have a tether? Why a free-floating submarine that deep? I mean, that's fucking insane.
The tether costs extra. So.
You know what? You're right. And these motherfuckers, 250 grand a pop, they can't afford a fucking cable? Well, Firefest all over again. I hope they enjoy their cheese sandwich as their last meal. I don't think anyone can understand how small and how claustrophobic that would be under the most ideal circumstances. When you start running shit through your head about you aren't getting up from a mile of water over your head, you got to start really freaking the fuck out. But from what people say, carbon monoxide poisoning or carbon dioxide poisoning isn't that bad a way to go. you kind of just don't even know what's happening. It's sort of like the show yesterday. You drink with Gino, and then before you know it, you're in heaven or hell or wherever you're supposed to be when you die. It's like me. Before I knew it, I was streaming Call of Duty and had no idea that I had inhaled Jameson for hours on end. So we'll see. Anything else, Nino?
No, thank you for your time.
Thanks, man. Nino was good, right? He just sat there. He wasn't like, talking. He didn't have to go, I'll hang up and listen on the air. All right. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, you know him from our End Racism Tour. You know him from the Food Network.